What's up, people? Let's talk about thirst traps. So I've had multiple people refer to my posts as thirst traps. Now this is hilarious for a couple of different reasons, which I'm going to get into in just a minute. Not because I owe anyone an explanation, but I figure there's ignorance in this world that needs to be addressed, and this gets to the heart of a much deeper issue within our society, so I figured I would drop a little science on you guys. Your perspective obviously informs how you view the world. If you don't think for yourself, and you only think in terms of the language that's been taught to you by pop culture, or religion, or whatever else, then your ideas will likely be limited to that framework versus a more first principles type thinking. If outside influences are warping your lens, then your view of the world will be distorted. Ever heard the saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail? Similarly, I cannot be responsible for the thirst that consumers of my content may or may not have. Just because y'all are fucking thirsty doesn't mean I'm setting traps just because I post a picture of a tall drink of water. Just because a post makes you feel a certain way doesn't mean that was the intention of said post. If you're getting the two mixed up, you might be projecting a bit. For those of you uneducated folks who don't know what projection is, that's where you take your emotions and form a belief that they're coming from somebody else, or that someone else is feeling them or expressing them. Sorry, a bit of a cliff right here, so I'm just trying not to die. Shout out to Vibram 5 Fingers. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I would totally go for that. Vibram, if you're out there, hit me up. Okay, I think I'm safe from dying for a second. You know, not more than a few years ago, I didn't give two shits about Instagram or social media in general, really. At least posting and whatnot. I thought it might be a good idea to actually share some things to the world versus keeping to my usual hermit self. Now, I just happened to be in the middle of an 8+ year experiment being vegan. I don't say experiment because I expect to quit, but because veganism as a lifestyle has not been around that long and hasn't had a lot of time to prove its long-term health consequences. So far it's going pretty well. It's a long ways down. It also just so happens that just over 2 years ago, I started a fitness journey where I actually joined a fitness program and started training seriously, which I had never done before. Previously, I was inconsistent with different types of training and whatnot. Since I was improving my strength and physique, I figured I'm taking all these progress pictures anyway for my coach. I may as well put some on Instagram and share what one can accomplish as a vegan. Just so happens to also be true that I am actually a nudist, so I don't really give a fuck about adults who act childish about the human body. You may remember years ago, easy for me to say, shit. You may remember years ago during the Super Bowl, Gen Z might have to look it up, when Janet Jackson had fucking Nipplegate or whatever, when her boob popped out. Everybody's fucking covering their eyes and clutching their pearls and shit. It was like, and that was with a pasty on. Do you realize if Aboriginal tribes saw the way we reacted, what a laughing stock we would be? They walk around fucking topless all the time. Fucking naked and shit. The most powerful nation in the world is brought to its knees by a fucking nipple. A nipple that's covered, I might add. The sheer stupidity of our culture and the ignorance of people, all to help us remain slaves to industry and to those who want us to work in their best interest rather than our own, in a country that constantly cartoonishly talks about freedom, is hilarious. Sorry about the bouncing, by the way. I have a really shitty selfie stick right now. I have a good one, but I didn't have an adapter for my phone mount, so it is what it is. Oh, and I hate that saying. I apologize for using it. Anyway, I actually agree that our culture is pretty fucking dumb about sex. And that's probably why people are complaining about quote unquote thirst traps. However, some of us think it's dumb for quite different reasons. Especially if you're viewing it through the warped lens society provides. Not everything that you feel sexual or uncomfortable about is a thirst trap, okay? It really says more about you than anyone else. If society didn't hypersexualize the body and simultaneously shame us for it and make it taboo, they couldn't sell as many clothes and beauty products or rope you into their silly religions, now could they? It is the clothing and the shame and the fear that makes nudity sexual in the first place. It's all about control. So next time you're about to run your mouth about and out yourself as a tool, maybe look into where your thirst is coming from. You might just need to change your perspective rather than expect everyone else to change to accommodate your insecurities and programming.